So, we're here at Dane Studios. We're doing the OSG Summit. This is my version of a boss talk, so we are real bosses. I know everyone's been hearing about OSG, and I've been talking about it and showcasing it, but I have the founder of OSG to my left, mckeezy, and I have Rob to my right, Principal Rob, who's 33 years old and has a school beside the college campus. So I wanted to first introduce Dennis, and I wanted to explain exactly what OSG is and why he's curated the individuals that he has.
Yeah, thanks, Dane. Again, Dennis mckeezy, CEO and founder of OSG, Off School Grounds. I have an extensive amount of experience in education. My probably most memorable time as an educator was when I was a principal, and I recognized the support that was needed in order for me to be successful. So I spent almost 10 years as a principal in Harlem, doing some really amazing things, really touching and changing the community in which that I served. We also had some amazing test results, and high performance, and things like that. So,
real quick, you have a baseball hat backwards, a white t-shirt, and chain. You said I'm a principal really fast.
Absolutely.
I just want people to really digest that.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that, Dave. And again, unapologetic about how I do things. Those who know me and have been around me as an educator know that I can switch it up in a heartbeat as well and wear a suit and really expensive shoes if I need to as well. But I think sometimes
you got a Gucci suit as well.
Yeah, a little bit. But I think it's important as an educator to realize that you're not in this work by yourself. And so during the pandemic, I recognized that principals needed that support. They needed to be around other principals who had like minds, who understood the challenges that they faced during the pandemic and even before the pandemic. And so I decided that I wanted to start a group of principals that span the country and even the globe on a weekly Zoom meeting, which I call OSG the Meetup, at which we would, I think we started off our first week with almost 25 principals from across the country. And then over the past year, we've gone up to well over 100 principals from New York all the way over to California. And so what was so important about this movement was what we recognized is that we saw some of the problems in education. We felt that most of the problems that exist, they actually get resolved off school grounds. These aren't things that you can sit in your building all day long and figure out these problems. You got to get out the community. You got to see what's going on. You got to see the need for the work that we're doing and then do something about it. So not only are we educators that do that, we then started to link up with other like-minded people such as Dane Dash, who also saw many of the same problems as he grew up in Harlem and now he's living out here in LA. He recognized there are problems that still exist. And so we understand that for many years, education has been dealt with in asylum and in isolation. That we'll get people who say, well, I'm not an educator. The reality of it, you don't necessarily need to be an educator with a degree. You just need to know that there's problems in the community and you're willing to do something about it. So when my brother Elliott reached out to Dane Dash back in, I think, last April 2020, he was so gracious enough to come and spend time with us on our weekly meetup, at which time he saw something that he had never seen before. He saw at that time, nearly 100 Black and brown principals from all across this country that actually, as they would call it, were swaggy. You know what I'm saying? Had swag, had the talk, had the walk, but more so than anything, had the passion for young people. So when I started this organization, I did keeping that in mind that Dane was somebody that most of us grew up to and appreciated and loved for what he was talking about. Meaning the same things that Dane is talking about now with us as an organization. He's been talking for well over 20 years. And so we can no longer tackle some of these problems in education without the support of entertainers, athletes, elected officials, and corporate sponsors from across the country, because we need to get in these communities and help these students. So that's what really OSG has been about. And so kind of give us an opportunity to bring in, our brother Ahmed Rob from out here in Compton and Watts. And so, I'm gonna just turn that over to him. I'll turn it back over to Dane, but that's really what we've been about there.
Well, here's the thing. When I first met you, we didn't know Principal Rob.
No.
And then all of a sudden it became like family, like that. And he's definitely one of the, I would say, members of OSG that's definitely fearless and forward thinking and likes to get things done very fast. You know what I mean? So, Principal Rob, 33-year-old. How old?
33.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
My son is 30.
My son is 32.
It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to digest this thing. Pause. Talk about who you are and what you're doing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm Principal Rob, and you know me as the revolutionary principal, how I revolutionize school cultures. Born and raised in the beautiful city of Compton. I come from a family of educators. My father was a professor. I'm the youngest of 6. 5 out of 6 of my siblings are in education. But I was that one kid that I didn't want to be in education. I was going to be a rapper and a football player. I lost my football scholarship. And I luckily, though, had education in my life in high school. I graduated high school and from a 2-year college, and got my 2-year college degree at the same time. So I graduated from high school, and literally a month after, I was awarded my 2-year college degree from Compton Community College. Then I read this book called The Alchemist, changed my life, and I went directly in education at the age of 20. 4 years later, I became a dean, then I became an assistant principal at 26, and then I did a year, and then I was selected to be the founding principal at University Pathways at 29. 4 years later, we just had our first graduating class. We had 100% of my seniors graduate, and just trying to revolutionize education, because I wanted to build a high school that I wish I had doing it. And my father was incarcerated when I was in 11th grade, and I didn't get that love to teacher. I didn't get that exposure. I didn't get nobody that looked like me, walked like me, talked like me, that came from where I came from to say like, yo, no, it's dope to be an educator. And guess what? I can expose you to all the different dreams that you can have. Nobody did that. So I wanted to be that person for the community. I wanted to be that person for that one kid that see themselves in me.
Now, I had the privilege of coming to the school yesterday, and I was in awe with the scale. It was like acres. It was like a college campus. And, I saw things like computer, what do you call that? Computer lab? Yeah. Computer lab, and 3D printers, like courtrooms, generally teaching kids how to understand, how to practice law.
Yeah.
I saw tea parties.
Yeah.
People getting dressed up. I saw pictures of the students all over the walls, all over the campus. I saw like workout rooms that were sponsored by professional businesses. And basketball courts that were sponsored by professional basketball teams like the Clippers, and football fields that are being sponsored by
The Major League
it was so real. And again, I've never had any facility that big. It's really hard though, put it all together and figure out how did you do all this at 33?
Yeah, through the powers of just, first off, thanking Dennis and OSG and you for coming and visiting the school and welcoming me as part of the family. That's powerful. How we started, man, through my relationships with just believing. Like, believe it or not, that school didn't look like that when we first started in 2018.
I do believe that.
Yeah, and I literally had an office that was smaller than this, and we had to build it from the ground up. And through the power of social media, content distribution, people started to see the vision. And people like the Los Angeles Clippers, the Think Watts Foundation came and refurbished our whole basketball court. Planet Fitness came and built us an entire weight room and a garden. the Bank of California came and gave us a whole credit union and financial literacy to work with our young people. And then we just took it from there and developed a courtroom and 3D printing a music studio that's going to be sponsored by Dane and OSG, powered by OSG, to come up into our schools so we can teach our students how to actually put together music and develop music and content so they can monetize their intellectual property.
So why did these corporate infrastructures trust you to all these business?
They trust me because I'm from that community, and they see the work, they see the love, they see the passion that I have for my city, but for my community. Community comes first. Because I believe that in order for us to have a self-sufficient community, we must have a self-sufficient school. And in order to have a self-sufficient school, we must all collectively work together. If everyone does a little, no one person has to do a lot. So if these major corporations can be part of the village or our community, then young people can see that. You've seen it. Like, you walk in there, it wasn't no tagging on the walls, it wasn't no ripped up. Like, we can have nice things, and we take care of nice things, and people be empowered by it. So the more we can
Somebody find us.
yeah.
Rob, what's important, I think, the message getting out to corporate America, that there is a need. There is a need to continue to support independent schools, public schools, charter schools, whatever it has to be. I think we hear about it by whether it's through media, but I think when somebody steps into your building and they realize the work that you put in and understand there's still limits to what you could do because of finances, I think if they got a chance to come and spend more time in your school, they'll get to be able to see the kind of work you put in, one, but also be able to help you to lift your vision to another level. And so I think it's important that as school leaders, that we recognize that we do have a power to actually attract people who want to help, but you got to do the work first. And that's the one thing I want to make very clear is that what we saw coming to the U yesterday was the efforts that you put in to make your school what it was and what it continues to be. So let's make our audience fully aware of some of the things that you've been able to do in your building to make it more attractive, not only for the student, but for people like us who come all the way across the country, with possible resources and funders and people who can give you and donate money to your school. What is it that you've done?
Somebody that I don't even know, right? So we wanted to create a school that felt like a family, felt like a house, felt like a home. When you walked on my campus, most people can feel something. And for me as a principal, I know every student name. Like, it's something when you walk on my campus and you see students there, and I can say, hey, let's bet, hey this, hey that. Every student, and I say, how's you doing? How's your family? How's your brother? How's your sister? Because you take time to know it. I do a challenge where I know every single student.
And a sneaker challenge.
Sneaker challenge, right? Pie in the face. We build a sense of belonging. We build an aspirational environment. Because when young people feel like they're wanted, they loved, and they come to school with smiles on their face, they feel good about it, they feel good, and they want to work a little bit better. They feel that hope. They feel that dream can actually manifest. And then when they feel that love from a principal, I don't know about you, but when I was in school, the principal didn't know me. And he only knew me when I was coming because I was sent out the office or something.
The principal knew me well. I was in his office every day.
Yeah.
But you know what, Rob? What's really important to understand is I can relate to what you all are doing because I did what you all are doing. And I was a principal 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And the reality of it is that the quality of a great leader is always about relationships. Knowing your students, knowing your staff, knowing the community, and saying so I think it's imperative that people know that it's important that you surround yourself with like-minded individuals, but also a level of mentorship that can help you to do something that you might not have seen in it, right? So when I see about, when I hear you talk about all these challenges that you were doing at your school, knowing every student, and knowing your student by name, that's what I focused on. Every student know my name. I didn't walk around saying, hey, what's up, homie, yo, what's up, this one. No, I was able to call you by your name. I was able to call your parents by their name. So I understand that the building of relationships is extremely important. But the one thing that I think really does resonate with me when I talk to you, again, is your sense of community. And the pride that you have in the community in which you serve. So talk to the people a little bit about, why is it that you put so much into your school and your community at this time?
Yeah, it's mainly because, my cities a lot of times is forgotten. And if it's going to take somebody making sure that it's connected, it'll be me. I wear this Compton hat intentionally, so people can know that I sit up here with multiple master's degrees. I sit up here that was one time accepted to the UCLA doctorate program, but I've lost many students. I lost many students to street violence. I lost many students that's saying like, hey, I just want to be able to walk down one side of the street, and then the next year is brutally murdered in front of a coin laundry liquor store. I've lost students to suicidal ideation because the resources in the community wasn't there to be able to acknowledge the mental health and the components to support that student. I've lost students to going to the penitentiary for non-violent crimes, right? And it's painful. Like I have a lot of vicarious trauma trying to serve my community, but if I'm not that person, right? Like I represent 2%. It's only 2% black males in education, let alone somebody who's under the age of 40 as a principal. So I have to stand on the shoulders of mentors like you, Dane, and the OSG family to be like, yo, we can put in infrastructure, we can put in systems, I can take feedback, and we can build Compton. And we always say we want to make Watts into Wakanda. And that means that we want to be able to expose our young people to endless possibilities, but not just by telling them, but also showing them. Like I show my students that, yo, I'm a principal and I got some nice gold on. I can wear my 3-piece suit. I can have a nice car and a Mercedes, and I'm highly educated. So all these components together provide somebody with the dream that, dang, I can do that. I can be that. And what Dave say all the time, you can see it and you can be it.
So when you yesterday you got a chance to host us, you have 15, almost 20 of us fly from the East Coast, come and spend the last 4 days with you. What does it actually mean to you?
And real quick, because this is the OSG Summit, and I like the thing it's doing.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.